Chapter 207. Trauma. Though I was slightly affected by the new arrest, the affection disappeared within a few days and I was back jailing. I was back bidden. I was back into my bed like it was my second calling, as if it came natural. The awareness of my surroundings, the close focus on the mediocre jokers that I heard men spoke of that tried to get closer, the smokers and the older soldiers with the cold shoulders, the crash dummy organ donors, the rollers and the bipolar. The mental strain and the destruction of the demented brain is when jail doesn't bother us anymore. Our lifestyles were so reckless that we never planned anything a year out because we never expected to be free or even to live a year out. We lived day to day, night to night. If we made it to tomorrow, it was a blessing, but most likely someone close to us didn't. Most likely another funeral coming up. Most likely another wake. Most likely another repast. Most likely another collect call.
This call is subject to recording and monitoring.
Our lifestyles were so psychotic that if we made it in society free and alive for 2 years, it was a success. We smiled and bragged. I got me a good run this time, homie. I got me a hell of a run. 2 years was a good run. 2 years without getting killed or killing someone. Every day we expected destruction, so every day we were ready to destroy ourselves or someone else. The trauma of expecting death on a daily basis drove many men insane. The trauma of witnessing death on a daily basis drove many men to drugs. The trauma of knowing that prison is always on the horizon drove many men to suicidal acts. Our suicidal acts came in many forms. Balling through stop signs, drunk driving, raw sex with strange women, trusting men we're not supposed to trust, trusting women that we only supposed to bust, going to unwelcoming places around unwelcoming people, fraternizing with snakes and not expecting to get bit, or get told on, or get killed. We were all suicidal, rotating in a lifestyle of nutbags and psychopaths, to the point that we became nutty and psychotic ourselves. I questioned my psychology. I questioned my rationality. I questioned my comprehension, understanding, and perception. To consistently subject myself to humiliation means I was dealing with some form of trauma. To consistently subject myself to being placed in steel handcuffs meant I must enjoy being in bondage. Subjecting myself to total indignity, disgrace, embarrassment, and dishonor by being ordered to strip naked in front of other men meant I had some mental issues that needed to be resolved. My father once told me, "You must like getting strip searched. You must like being ordered around by other men." I had to really think about that statement, and it seemed sufficient. We were attracted to the drug game for the fact that we weren't being ordered around by other men, yet it led to being ordered around by other men. We were attracted to the fast money for the fact that we didn't have to give Uncle Sam 20% of our earnings, yet Uncle Sam ended up with 100% of it when we were caught. We were attracted to the streets for the fact that the streets had no rules dictated by other men, only morals and principles. Yet it led to a place where we had no choice but to follow rules dictated by other men with no morals or principles. The battle. The battle within ourselves. The battle with ourselves was the hardest battle we faced. A battle that beat our asses daily, with the effects from the battle being stress and depression, mean mugs and suicidal thoughts, drug use and alcohol abuse. I couldn't believe I was back in DC jail again, battling myself. I was 31 years old. Chapter 208, ADX Colorado, Supermax. After a few months at DC jail, the whole jail was placed on total lockdown after multiple stabbings, a mini riot, and 2 killings in 1 week. It had gotten just like Lawton in the private prison in Youngstown, Ohio that I served time in 5 years prior. We were being fed bologna sandwiches 3 times a day and being let out for showers once a week and facing mass shakedowns every other day. I had gotten used to this type of hectic lifestyle and understood the expectations. My life choices was the lifestyle of the insane. At the same time, my brother was transferred from a penitentiary in Texas called Bloody Beaumont to ADX Florence, Colorado. ADX was nicknamed the Alcatraz of the Rockies. It was the tightest, most secured federal prison in America. It only had 490 beds filled with Al-Qaeda operatives, spies, mob and cartel bosses, and top gang leaders. Terrorists like Eric Rudolph was there along with Oklahoma City bomber Terry Nichols. He was serving 161 life sentences after being convicted of 168 murders. His co-defendant Tim McVeigh was executed at Terre Haute a few months prior. The Unabomber was also there serving 8 life sentences after 20 years of mailing bombs to airline executives in academic administrator homes, killing 3 and injuring 23 others. The homie Wayne Perry was also there. At the time, he had been there for almost 10 years. It was 23-1 lockdown, meaning they stayed in their cells for 23 hours a day, not unlike any other lockdown at any other prison. But here, they even had a block with no human contact. It's called the control unit. Anybody in this block cannot touch or see another human being for the rest of their lives. To be qualified to be placed in this block, you had to be considered the worst of the worst of the worst. The most dangerous human beings in America that had been caught. He said everything there was all concrete. The walls, floor, desk, sink, and even the bed, a slab of concrete. He had a transparent TV and a shower in the cell, though it was on a timer. You were given 2 minutes a day to shower. He said the Unabomber was up there driving people crazy. The cells were constructed so that it had cell bars inside of a steel door. He would wake up early in the morning and start banging on the cell bars until nighttime. Sometimes 15 to 20 hours straight of banging. He said the banging even started driving the officers crazy. They were hearing the same bang, 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 bang sound all day, every day, even in their sleep. He said he became immune to the banging. Bang, 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 bang. Chapter 209, CTF, 2004. After 15 months since my arrest, I went back to court for a status hearing. The police report was released after numerous delays in which the cops had a lookout for 2 black males and a Jaguar. 2 large-built black males and a Jaguar. 5'10" to 6 feet, large-built black males in a gray Jaguar. Wait, I'm nowhere near large-built at 5'3" and weighing 135 pounds. The young man that was arrested with me was around 5'7", 150. And the Jaguar they were supposed to be looking for was gray. My Jaguar was green. Olive green. We didn't fit the description in no form or fashion. How did we become suspects? The judge didn't like what he was seeing and questioned the cops. He wanted to know how was I a suspect. The pig took the stand and testified that he couldn't tell if I was large built and the car looked gray because the way the street lights shined off of it. The judge couldn't believe what he was hearing. Wait, are you sitting here today telling me that you thought Mr. Mowat, that small built man sitting over there, was large built? The officer said yes. The judge then asked, "Sir, how tall are you?" The officer replied, 5'10". "And how much do you weigh, roughly?" "Around 225 pounds. So would you consider yourself large built?" The officer hesitated, then replied, "Yes, somewhat. Maybe a little under large built," and had the nerve to laugh. "So you consider yourself at 225 pounds and 5'10" at a little under large built, but you considered Mr. Mowat over there. He's maybe 5'5" max and 130 pounds. You consider him as large built?" The pig paused to recompose his lies. Yes, Your Honor. He was sitting in the car and I couldn't tell his height and weight." "So you couldn't tell his height or weight. So how did he become a suspect?" "Because he was driving a gray Jaguar." "Wait, I have pictures here, sir. This isn't a gray Jaguar." "Well, Your Honor, the car changes colors when lights shine on it. It looks gray at night." The judge looked over at him and stared for a second. He looked at him like he was the biggest idiot on earth. But even though the officer swore an oath to tell the truth under the penalties of perjury, the judge never aimed for perjury charges. Even though the officer broke the law, he wasn't arrested. That officer should have been sitting where I was sitting. That officer should have been in jail. I'm dismissing these charges on the basis of illegal search and seizure. You had no probable cause to stop and search this individual. He doesn't fit your description of the suspect you were seeking. Your report is vague. A gray Jaguar? What kind of Jaguar? What if it was a white Toyota? What kind of Toyota? A van? 4-door? 2-door? Convertible? SUV? This case has too many constitutional violations to stand. The defendant, Mr. Mowat's Fourth Amendment, was violated and the government is at fault. Case dismissed. My lawyer smiled and patted me on the back. She was happy, but I wasn't. I was still pissed. 15 months of my life was just taken for no reason. 15 months taken because I carried a firearm? Something that majority of Americans do every day? Though it was an extremely rare occurrence in the federal courts to have a case dismissed, especially with their 98.9 conviction rate, I didn't celebrate. I knew I would still be held in jail, so I only thought of revenge. The next day I was moved to a jail across the street from DC jail by the name of CTF. I had to see the parole board. They had put a warrant out for my arrest for a parole violation. The violation? Possession of an unregistered firearm. The exact same case that was just dismissed. Bang, bang.